Hi and welcome to another video in the series of Dowsing Earth Energies and Connecting with the Earth. And in this video, I just want to give you a couple of examples, one recent and one a few months ago, where the lines make it very obvious that somehow there is a connection between our consciousness and them. There is no other explanation. I must already know where these lines are, subconsciously anyway, or I'm going crazy. Please let me know what you think after checking out these two examples. First, from this weekend. So today's short video is going to be a little different. Basically, Thursday night, was it Friday? One of those days, I started writing what I thought would be a Substack, and about 15 pages in I realised it was going to be a book. And it's going to be about dowsing and some of the experiences I've had and observations that I've made about dowsing over the last couple, 3, 4 years. And today I went dowsing, and it was just as if the gods, the management, had decided to prove to me once and for all what I'd written in the book. Because it was a day full of synchronicities, full of meaning, full of surprises, and reinforced a lot of the concepts that I wrote about this last couple of days. The book obviously isn't finished, it's going to be at least another month, maybe less. But nonetheless, it made me realise that this book, I need to write it and get it out. So here we go. There's just basically a couple or more examples of how the lines work, what kind of synchronicities occur, and perhaps some conclusions about what this all means in terms of consciousness and the Web of Wyrd. I hope you enjoy. Please do like, share and subscribe. It really does help grow my channel and reach more people with this kind of content. Thank you. So this last weekend I went out locally to another area that I'd never been before, even though it's just a few kilometres away from where I live, and followed a type 4 pair of lines through a part of the countryside and across this Radisco, an old hill fort, or the site of a hill fort. On the way there, I was trying to find the correct road, and so I had stopped and parked by some garages just to check on my maps whether I was on the right road. And then a couple of 100 metres after that was where I had parked my car and set off to follow the line. The hill fort was used during the Stone Age and Bronze Age periods and affords marvellous views of the surrounding countryside, which I'm attempting to show you through the trees in this video. So once again, I've discovered a hill fort not more than 20 kilometers away from where I live, and you know, it's actually close by the motorway and by one of the main highways going into Brno, but just far enough to be very peaceful and off the beaten track. It was a bit of a hike to get here through the forests, which seem to be filled with small flies that are plaguing me because I'm covered in sweat having climbed up the hill. But this Radisco, or hill fort, which I need to check on, you know, what era it dates back to, but once again it's on a male positive line, a type 4 line, that's part of a pair of lines that I was tracking in this general direction. So again, what we find is that these sort of administrative sites, I suppose, always seem to lie on positive lines, and then sort of religious or educational or healthcare always seem to lie on negative lines, which, you know, I think that's pretty miraculous. And it says something about this weird web I'm feeling. So one thing's for sure, I'm definitely having a bit of an adventure chasing these lines. So I just told you that the male line passed through the Radisco. Well, I've just found the female line actually passing through the highest point. It would appear to be the female line anyway. I'm going to check it and double check it, but as I paced the line and came to the middle, and opened up my Dowsing Mapper app to mark it, I just happened to look up, and this is what I see. Yes, I'm stood at the sign that marks the Radisco, and it's actually at 333 nautical meters above sea level. 333. Interesting. Maybe nothing, but still interesting. So sometimes you just got to wonder about these lines. And I've been writing a book this last few days about observations of the lines and stuff, which will be out soon, I hope. And about an hour and a half ago, I was driving down this road here, and I stopped, parked by those garages, just to consult the map and see what the lay of the land was, because I wanted to douse a circular route. So I've done about 5 kilometers of hiking past the Radisco and round the back, and just past the garages. And guess what? Yep, that's where the line goes. The line went through the place I parked to check the map. How often that happens to me is beyond a joke. This, sometimes, it does my head in. It's so bizarre, really. So as I just told you, I came down this lane. This morning I was looking for a lane that went in this general direction and would allow me to walk a few kilometers across country. And just to check where this lane went, I pulled in by those garages and just now discovered that that's where the line goes. I then walked another couple hundred meters to where the chimney's parked, and I'm sat in the back of it right now, and guess what? Yes, this is where the other line goes. So essentially, how is it that I stop, consult a map in, I think it was the negative line, drive a couple hundred meters and park in the positive line that I'm actually looking for, without knowing it until I've done a 5 kilometer circular route, to discover at the end of the day, or the end of the afternoon, that indeed I had already discovered the line. How did I manage that? What is it that makes this happen over and over again? I already know these lines are here, subconsciously. I must. There's no other explanation. None. The Web of Wyrd has struck again. So here's a second example. On this particular occasion, I was dowsing up this valley, looking for a couple of Type 4 lines, some wonderful geology with some wonderful conglomerates and some amazing scenery, including this strange and bizarre tree that looked like a portal to another dimension. However, to get to my point, I found a picture attached to a tree at a location where the female line passed. So let's see how that works out. Here are those conglomerates, rounded pebbles and even boulders, all held together in a matrix of sand and fossilized as a rock called a conglomerate, representing a high energy water deposit. And here is the picture that I found. It quite often amazes me that I'm not the only person that knows about these lines. They may not know that they're energy lines, but they seem to know, some people, that they are powerful places of spiritual energy. Why else would someone hang a painting on a tree at this location of mother and child on a Type 4 female line? Why indeed? Was it the energy, the combination of the water in the valley, suggesting some feminine energies at this location, requiring somebody with a religious bend to post a picture of mother and child? Or was it deliberate? Did the person know that the female energy line passed through this point? I guess I'll never know. We'll never know. But it's interesting that this kind of Synchronicity happens over and over again. I guess the fact is that no matter which way you look at it, this weird web of Earth energy lines seems to have intelligence. It also seems to be something that subconsciously we know exists. We already know the layout of the lines. Our conscious mind maybe doesn't accept that they exist or needs to have the dowsing rod show the way, but nonetheless, accidentally stopping, parking in lines and all of the other weird events of the last several years has convinced me that I already know where these lines are, not consciously but subconsciously, and that this network of line connects everybody, past, present and future, all together in one big web of consciousness, that we are indeed all one thing. And as I was driving away today, I had a funny thought that snuck into my mind, which was, well, if this was a computer simulation, what if these Earth energy lines were nothing more than the framework on which reality was built and decisions were made? And then it struck me, well, it doesn't need to be a fake reality, does it? It can be a network of consciousness, the living consciousness of humanity, the living consciousness of life, aware of itself, influencing bits of itself, so that things like government buildings get built on positive lines and churches dedicated to female saints get built on negative lines, because I can't think of any other explanation. Can you?